Thank you, Mr. Shankaran, Mr. Subramaniam. Some of you would have heard of Wajid Ali Shah. He was the last Nawab of Oudh or Lucknow. There was a movie portrayed in his name called, that's right, Shatranj Ki Khiladi. Now, he was a man with varied interests, and one of his interests was a passion for music. He would invite a lot of musicians to his court, but there was one musician who persistently turned down his invitation to come. And because the king wanted him very much, he goes to the doorstep of the musician and requests him to come. When the king of your province comes to your doorstep, you cannot say no. He said, I will come, but there is one condition. The king said, no problem. Whatever your condition is, I'm here to fulfill. So the musician said, my condition is just this. When I play my music, I don't want anybody to sway. I want them to remain absolutely still. The king said, no problem. I will ensure that nobody moves their head. And in fact, I'll make a proclamation that anybody moves their heads will be cut off. He was eccentric. He could do anything. A proclamation was made that so-and-so musician was coming to the court. If you have been to Lucknow and if you've seen the palace, it can house about 5,000 people. And that day, because of this clause, about only 1,000 ardent music lovers came and the concert started. Now, as the first session went into a peak, a small group of people couldn't control themselves. They just allowed them to sway with the music. Now this becomes infectious. A patch here, and towards the end of the first musical concert, almost the whole audience were moving in for the music. The king who was sitting in front was alarmed. Now he has made a rule, he has to implement the rule, and these are the ardent music lovers of Lucknow. At the end of the first song, the musician said, all those who swayed to my music, please stay back. The rest of you may go, and it is only to those courageous few who dare to stay, I will play my music. You know, as I was sitting up, we have come to the end of a long day. You have been here the whole day, and many of you have a long distance to go, and on your mind is, how long the session is going, when will I get my transport? Now, when a small group of people start going, another batch of people, I thought there would be an exodus in a while, but to those of you who stayed back for this very last session, it is just an indication of your commitment to personal excellence. I have been to so many functions, but towards the end of the day, interest wanes off. It is difficult to be a listener in the last session. It's also difficult for me as a speaker in the last session, because from the time I've seen, each one has presented the whole theme and excellence in such a beautiful way. It is very difficult to add on to what has already been done. Now, what can we do? What can we take back from here? Right now, most of us here are listeners. As listening, can we just practice the art of good listening? As a doctor, I know one of the greatest skill of a doctor is good listening. Right from the time the person walks into the room, we need to see his body language, we need to see his facial expressions, we need to be able to be completely open to him. At that moment, I can't touch my mobile, I can't touch anything, I can't pick up my phone call. I am available for him, and I need to be able to observe not only what he says, but see his whole reactions. Now, that is a great art of listening. Now, let's look at yourself. Now, it is said the first few moments of a speaker is a time when you make a choice. Now, is this person worth my attention or not? Because there are two states of listening. One is you can be physically sitting here, you can be listening to what I'm saying, or you can be sitting here for politeness sake, but your mind can be somewhere else. Ask your question, am I in real time or am I in psychological time? You will see in any lecture, in any session, whenever I'm working, there is a fraction of time when I'm really involved in what I'm doing. And there is a good amount of time when my mind drifts off. The more I am into real time, listening or whatever I'm doing, that is my function of my commitment to excellence as a listener. PGS was talking about Patanjali. Patanjali said there are 3 levels of a listener. The first level, he says, is called Kutuhal. Kutuhal means curiosity. Now, we have arranged a variety of speakers, each is coming from a different perspective. Let us see what they have to say. That, he says, is the lowest level of a listener. The next higher level of a listener is called a Jignasa. A Jignasa means one who wants to learn, one who has a quest to learn. For a meeting of this standards, it is possible that the faculty has come from a certain background that I may go enriched. So I take down notes, not only my pustak, but more important, my mastak has got some nice points to take. But the ancient master Patanjali says even higher quality of a listener is called a mumukshu. And what are the qualities of a mumukshu? A mumukshu is one whose mind is very open, very receptive, not evaluating, not judging, not branding. Look, our whole training is to evaluate, judge, say this is good, that is not good. And it is said as long as this mind is processing information, we are still not good listeners. We are still not very receptive. On the other hand, if you can keep this processing mind just for a while away, just listen like a small child. They have said that the human mind can be compared to a parachute. Both of them work best when open.